Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that these streaming services that launched with some day-and-date releases and very high-profile series really are not keeping long-term subscribers. But before we get into that, guys, just remember that at least one of my videos every week will not come to the YouTube channel. They will be exclusive to my BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble channels. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not started following me on any of those three sites, the links to those will be in the description down below. Anyway, guys, let's get right into this. Coming from the Wall Street Journal, Disney Plus, HBO Max, and other streamers get waves of subscribers from must-see content. Keeping them is hard. Roughly half of U.S. viewers who joined right after Hamilton and Wonder Woman 1984 were gone in 6 months, data shows. Streaming video services get a surge of subscribers when they launch a hotly anticipated show or movie. But many of these new customers unsubscribe within a few months, according to new data, a challenge even for the industry's deep-pocketed giants. The data, which subscriber measurement company Antenna provided to the Wall Street Journal, illustrate the extent to which the streaming wars require all players to consistently churn out popular and often expensive programming to keep fickle subscribers satisfied. Quote, "You constantly need new content," says Michael Nathanson, an analyst for MoffettNathanson. Streaming services not only have to build vast libraries of old shows and movies, he said, they also, quote, "need a couple of big, nice theatrical movies every quarter to make it feel like it's really valuable." For me, that's a subjective statement. Just my personal opinion. I don't think that you need a couple of big theatrical movies every quarter to really make it valuable. You know what would make your service really, really valuable is if you can keep existing content long term. I mean, guys, at one point in time, it became a cottage industry for, you would see all these videos on fucking YouTube of what's leaving Netflix in February 2022, what's leaving Netflix January 2022, so on and so forth. The amount of content turnover that Netflix was having was so much, it effectively became a second cottage industry. Major releases have been a reliable driver of streaming subscriptions, particularly for newer services. Walt Disney Company's Disney Plus, for instance, won far more U.S. subscribers when the musical Hamilton came out than any other day since early 2020, when the service was still getting off the ground. AT&T Inc.'s HBO Max saw a jump in U.S. signups when Wonder Woman 1984 was released on Christmas Day 2020, according to Antenna data. So did Apple Inc.'s Apple TV Plus on the day Greyhound, a World War II movie starring Tom Hanks, came out in July 2020. Many of them don't stick around very, very long. Roughly half of U.S. viewers who signed up within 3 days of release of Hamilton, Wonder Woman 1984, and Greyhound were gone within 6 months, Antenna data shows. Disney, Apple, and AT&T's Warner Media, the parent of HBO Max, declined to comment. Of course they did, because they don't want to look like they're coming out and waving the white flag and saying that they're giving up. Even if streaming services only retain half of the users they sign up during big bursts, that still translates into sizable numbers for longer term subscribers. All streaming services see a portion of U.S. customers unsubscribe every month and have been signing up more users than they lose over time. But viewers who join a service right after a big release tend to leave significantly faster than the average streaming customer, according to an analysis of Antenna data. Comcast Corp's Peacock, another service that entered the streaming arena in the past couple of years, saw a surge of U.S. signups during last summer's Tokyo Olympics, for which it had streaming rights. 4 months later, roughly half of the U.S. customers who had joined around the beginning of the Olympics were gone, Antenna data shows. Comcast NBC Universal unit, the parent of Peacock, declined to comment. Comcast last week said more than 9 million people were paying to watch Peacock, on top of another 7 million cable and broadband customers of Comcast and other providers who get the service free who are using it regularly. Antenna is able to compile daily subscriber signups to most streaming services by aggregating data coming from a series of third-party apps that help users manage the email inboxes or keep to a monthly budget. Such apps keep track of streaming-related transactions and emails confirming users' decision to sign up for or cancel a streaming subscription. From a sample of 5 million U.S. users, Antenna extrapolates to build its projections, similar to what pollsters or other measurement companies such as Nielsen do. Antenna said users of those apps opt in to having their data used anonymously. Streamers as a challenge are exacerbated by the fact that most services are available through a monthly subscription, making it easy for viewers to cancel when they are done binge watching a specific show. The proliferation of streaming services has given users an array of options. HBO Max, Disney+, Peacock, Apple TV+, and Discovery Inc.'s Discovery Plus have entered the field since 2019, while Viacom CBS Inc. has rebranded and expanded its CBS All Access service, now known as Paramount+. All are fighting for market share with more established players including Netflix, Amazon's Prime Video, and Disney-controlled Hulu. American households subscribed to 3.6 streaming services on average last year, according to Kagan, a media research group within S&P Global Market Intelligence. And I can almost guarantee you that number is going to go down by the end of 2022. That is my prediction as of right now. But obviously, I am not Nostradamus here. We are going to have to wait until the beginning of 2023 in order to actually see that number, because obviously it has to, all of 2022 has to play out. The U.S. subscriber base of Netflix, the country's largest streaming service, has plateaued in recent quarters. Moffett-Nathanson data showed. Well, yeah, and this is the problem with it. The subscriber base was always going to plateau because you're going to hit a ceiling, right? You are going to peak. You can't grow any further. So what do? Well, if you're Netflix, you just jack up the price and hope that everyone sticks around. When it reported fourth quarter results on January 20th, 2022, Netflix said it may be affected by growing competition, adding that it continues to grow in regions where competitors have launched. The company's operating profit for the quarter shrank to 8.2% from 14.4% a year earlier. Netflix attributed the decrease partly to its larger programming lineup compared with the year earlier period. When COVID-19 shut down some productions, Netflix stock plunged by 22% after it forecast a significantly lower number of subscriber additions for the first quarter than it added a year ago, despite coming off a string of hit shows and movies. Quote, "The cost to build, the cost to market, and the cost to retain customers will all be going up in a competitive market," Mr. Nathanson said. Streaming services spend about twice as much on content, both to create originals and acquire the rights to old movies and shows last year than they did in 2017. According to projections from Ampere Analysis, a research firm, Netflix alone planned to spend $17 billion, and yes, that is billion with a B, on content last year, the company said in April. More established services with larger libraries of content have shown higher subscriber retention rates than new entrants. Quote, "We always say that library titles tend to increase engagement and minimize churn," Disney chief executive Bob Chapek said during a conference call with analysts in November, referring to the rate at which customers unsubscribe. But new titles, new content, whether they're movies or series, actually add new subscribers. Yes, it's an idea in marketing. It's called the I believe it's called the funnel. I might be mistaken. So you have like the new content. So I'm just going to use, for example, I know it's a bad example, but just go with it. Book of Boba Fett, right? Let's just ignore all of the negativity that is surrounding that show. So Book of Boba Fett, let's say, adds 10 million new subscribers, right? You cast the net as wide as you can. What you hope to do with your legacy content is that you want to keep people around longer. Now, some people are just going to subscribe for Book of Boba Fett, and once that's over, they're going to unsubscribe, forget about it, and move on. And that's fine. You don't win them all, but you hope to get enough in the long tail, the long tail of that funnel, and that's what keeps your service alive. And you can even apply this to franchises. Why have certain franchises been around for 40 or 50 years? Well, it's really in the long tail content. It's not in the in that initial funnel that's meant to capture everybody. It's when you try to funnel everybody through and down in through the long tail. Anyway, I'm tangenting on for too long. Let's get back to this. Netflix experienced a large influx of new customers in the first few weeks of the pandemic in March 2020, when lockdowns left many people with more time to watch shows such as Tiger King from the couch. Another notable spike in signups outside that period happened in early December 2020, when David Fincher's Mank and the fourth season of cartoon comedy Big Mouth began streaming on Netflix. Hulu, meanwhile, regularly attracts a wave of new US signups on Black Friday when the service traditionally offers a steep discount. According to a review of antenna data, one of Hulu's highest drawing shows is The Handmaid's Tale, the dystopian series featuring Elizabeth Moss that is based on the Margaret Atwood novel. US viewers who signed up for Netflix when Big Mouth and Mank came out, and for Hulu ahead of the fourth season of The Handmaid's Tale, have left at a slower pace than the ones who signed up for HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, and Disney Plus right after the releases of Wonder Woman 1984, Greyhound, and Hamilton, respectively, according to antenna data. Unlike the other titles mentioned, the fourth season of The Handmaid's Tale couldn't be binged in one sitting. Its 10 episodes were released over the span of months. Apple and HBO Max also have episodic shows that are more likely to retain subscribers for longer, including HBO's Succession and Apple's Ted Lasso. But see, if someone wanted to binge the fourth season of The Handmaid's Tale in one sitting, they would just wait for every episode to come out, then sign up for 1 month, and then binge all the episodes, and then cancel the next. So you can't really say that, oh, they only stayed subscribed because they couldn't binge The Handmaid's Tale in one sitting. There had to be other extenuating circumstances, as I pointed out. How hard is it to wait until the very end, after all the episodes come out, sign up for that 1 month, binge it, and then cancel it the next? Not all successful shows draw spectacular subscriber numbers on day one. Some of the most popular streaming programs of the past couple of years, including Ted Lasso and Netflix's Squid Game, were sleeper hits that required a few weeks of word of mouth to gain a big following in the US. Antenna doesn't track subscriber signups for Amazon's Prime Video because many subscribers join Prime for other Amazon benefits. The company's projections only include users who have signed up for a service directly. They exclude some subscribers who join services as a result of an agreement with third parties such as wireless carriers. Antenna's executive chair Jonathan Carson, a former Nielsen executive, said Antenna was created because he and his co-founder, chief executive Handmaids Tale, saw a business opportunity to provide reliable data for the movie studios and TV networks that were shifting toward video streaming. Now, do I think that this is doom and gloom for the entire streaming service market in general? Yes and no. What this basically reveals is you can't have a streaming service where you only rely on a monthly subscription service. What I can foresee coming down the pipeline out of pure necessity is that these streaming services are going to have to adopt an ad-supported model, whether they want to or not, because simply there's just too many players in the streaming market now. When it was just Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu, and that contained 95% of all the content that you wanted to watch, there were no problems. But now that you had Disney Plus and HBO Max and Discovery Plus and Apple TV Plus, and I'm probably forgetting a few off the top of my head. It's very late when I'm recording this, but you guys get my point. The market is now so fractured that it's now become, we're just going to pay for one or two services, and then we're going to just pirate the rest. So you can either sit back and allow people to pirate your fucking content, or you can create an ad-supported version of your service where they can watch the content through your service, obviously with ads played in sporadically. Because here's your big marketing campaign. You don't run the risk of downloading malware. Like you do when you go and torrent these shows off of wherever you do, whether it be BitTorrent or the Pirate Bay. I know the Pirate Bay no longer exists, but I'm so out of that. I am so out of that game. I don't know who's who anymore. But anyway, guys, I've tangented on for way too long, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna truly end it right here. If you stuck around this long, guys, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I'll just see you guys next time.